Alright, alright. What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency today. Going to be taking a look at Litecoin, LTC against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Are you bullish on price action? Do you believe we've found support or likely to rally upward, interact with the multi-$100 range, $300, $400 that we came from not too long ago? Or are we bearish and we've yet to find support and we have some more downside or sideways ahead of us, interact with sub $100 and perhaps find some more support down here? Let me know your thoughts on the direction of price action down in the comments. Now, jumping right into it to kind of recap price action that has interacted with this ascending kind of trend line here. We have it rallying upward to kind of like horizontal support and resistance levels, but consolidating kind of downward toward it, finding support all along the uptrend up until the kind of 21st of March, when we had a more significant kind of break downward from that ascending trend line to interact with this very pivotal $177 level. We have price action below that ascending trend line back at the kind of middle of December of 2020, but that was less significant than the 21st of March of this year. This $177 level is significant, I believe, because we interacted with it with both as resistance and as support from since the kind of beginning of January of this year. We have a rejection off of it, sending price action toward support at this $115 level that we've been interacting with more recently. Upon that support found, we consolidated sideways toward that ascending trend line to find support and momentum great enough to kind of break that $177 level to interact with some higher highs around kind of like 240, 245. We came back down to confirm 177 as support with kind of like lows of like 153, but ultimately finding support at 177 for like a second time kind of after that break downward on the end of March there. We end up breaking resistance around that swing high at that 243 level to set some higher highs. Price action was looking very bullish. We were above that ascending trend line, but some very high sell pressure was present, and abrupt change in momentum occurred. These two very large rejections and this very significant break downward is kind of what price action has been kind of consolidating from. And so we have this break downward from the ascending trend line on the kind of 12th of May here, consolidation through potential support that could have been around kind of 302 or 335. We have a break downward and rejection off of 303, which I believe was significant enough to plow us through 225 and 206 as a potential support, which would have been more bullish in the short term, and we could have expected the uptrend to continue sooner. But this price action breaking downward suggests perhaps some more midterm downside as we look to find support still. This $177 level would have been very critical kind of moving forward and would have been very bullish in the short term. But this break downward and what I believe to be confirmation of $177 as resistance on the 13th and 14th of June of this year, I believe was what was significant enough to send us plummeting all the way down toward potential support at $116. And so this wick on the 22nd of June on 2021 comes all the way down to $105, and so that could suggest price action might have to make another attempt at support at this level. Some bodies might need to interact with $115 moving forward before we can confirm that level as support. Price action bouncing off that range on the kind of 22nd and 23rd there is quite bullish, but that's kind of short-term rejection off of what appears to be a little bit of resistance at kind of like $143 could send us back down to 116 as support. But a new perspective comes into play when we consider EngineeringRobo along with the Fibba Zucchini lines of Illuminati, geometry, symmetry, and Illuminati again. We can see a new perspective come into play when we consider this 0.236 line supporting my $115 support level. So that could very well be very significant support if we were to hold that level. It seems like it's going to be quite critical moving forward. The 0.382 is quite close to my $177 resistance level, suggesting some significant resistance kind of above the $172 range to my 177 resistance. In addition to, I believe there is going to be very high sell pressure on the underside of this 200 daily moving average. That is going to be a very bearish technical indicator moving forward, and there's going to be a lot of sell pressure off of it, where I do believe we will likely have to build up a lot of momentum to kind of find our way back above and then confirm it as support. We have the 0.5 Fibonacci line at $218 between my kind of 225 and sort of like 207 range there as significant resistance, as going to be a perhaps a key selling point once price action reaches those levels. Price action looking to find its way back toward $115 as support. Like I was saying earlier, this kind of mini rejection off of $144 could very much be significant enough to send us back to that level, although the fundamental buy pressure could allow us to kind of dip from recover from potential support at this kind of like $132 level. We could potentially bounce and interact with that range as resistance again, and see if we can find our way above that range, and in the short term, look to start interacting with $172 again. Although potential support around this $115 level would be more bullish long term, and I do believe would be more healthy for the trend, and we can expect a kind of like more gradual and healthier upside versus a more vertical kind of recovery, which would require some significant retracements. We have that sell for against USDT, suggesting some high sell pressure and some perhaps short-term downside. We have that 200 daily moving average being above price action, suggesting some very high technical sell pressure. So there is a lot of kind of key factors coming into play, although I do believe the fundamentals of Litecoin will come into play here and keep us sideways against this very high technical sell pressure. But a new perspective comes into play when we consider Litecoin against Bitcoin. We can see price action interacting with resistance at this what appears to be the 4131 Satoshi level. Significant rejection off of there could send us plummeting toward potential support at this kind of like 3724 Satoshi level there. That price action kind of bounced off of on the 22nd and 23rd of June, although we did kind of reach below it. So that does perhaps suggest that a second attempt at that level at support is needed before we can kind of continue upward. Now, this upper range that we could get trapped in if we, start closing above 41.31 again, could be between 44.94 and that 41.31 support level there as a potential channel that we could trade sideways between for a period of time. A new perspective comes into play when we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the Fibba Illuminati levels of bikinis, geometry, symmetry, and martinis. We can see a new perspective come into play here when we consider perhaps this significant sell pressure, I believe, above that 41.31 Satoshi level that is kind of causing this mini rejection in the short term. Once we get above that level, there's going to be significant sell pressure and resistance at the 0.786 Fibonacci line at 42.77 Satoshi, and then the underside of this 200 daily moving average is going to be quite significant sell pressure as well. I do believe a lot of traders will be kind of selling at that level, suggesting some very high technical kind of sell pressure present. We also have the sell for EngineeringRobo bearish against price action against Bitcoin, so it's not looking too good in the short term, in my opinion. I do believe some perhaps more downside is ahead in the short term here. More attempts at support is likely to occur before we can kind of find our way back upward. I do believe the fundamentals long term are bullish for Litecoin, and on the upside here, I do believe we can interact with these highs again at some point in the coming future. Although in the short term, perhaps some more support is needed to be found, and some more accumulation and consolidation might have to occur for the uptrend to kind of continue. We can be more bullish if support is found at that 37.29 Satoshi level. That is going to be significant support moving forward. If we fail to hold that range, we're going to interact with some lows that we kind of haven't seen since sort of like the kind of like middle of March to sort of like beginning of April of this year. So lots going on with Litecoin and Bitcoin. When we consider Bitcoin against USDT, we can see a new perspective come into play. We can see price action failing to hold that 0.5 Fibonacci level, very significant in the short term. Holding at that level would have given us more hope to attempt that 0.618 again. Although failure to hold that range is sending us plummeting toward what I believe was likely to be $32,000 per Bitcoin on my kind of support level there, which would be quite a bullish higher low relative to a bunch of swing lows here. This kind of like 19th of May, 23rd of May, the 8th of June, and the 22nd of June, and the 26th of June have been very significant swing lows that have been very scary for Bitcoin moving forward. Although a swing down to 32K and support found at that level, I do believe would be quite bullish moving forward, and would be a higher low, giving us more upside hope in the short term. Failure to hold that range, though, will send us plummeting toward potential support at the 0.382 Fibonacci line at 27,000, which is still a target I can be more long-term bullish at. Even if price action is so bearish that we fail to hold there, my kind of like most bearish target now is going to be the 0.236 Fibonacci line, sub 20k at $18,000 per kind of like Bitcoin. And so again, I'm still long-term bullish on Bitcoin. Even if we're down at those levels, that would be kind of one of the best buying opportunities, I believe, moving forward. There's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin. There's only better times. And so I believe since the very bullish and parabolic kind of like year and a bit that we've had for Bitcoin since those levels, returning to them from the all-time highs that we've had around 64k, 65k, coming back down to the sub 20, the teens, I do believe will be a very bullish level of accumulation for Bitcoin and for any new investors that perhaps missed the initial kind of run-up. Price action below the 200 daily moving average, suggesting some very high technical sell pressure, being quite bullish in a very short amount of time. Does suggest some pullbacks, some retracement, some accumulation might be necessary for the uptrend to continue. We do have a sell for against USDT on the price of Bitcoin here, so we could have some kind of more downside, some very high sell pressure is present. When EngineeringRobo becomes more bullish, we can be more bullish in the short term, although perhaps some more attempts at support is needed before the kind of uptrend can continue. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below. Let me know in the comment section, are you bullish, are you bearish on price action moving forward? Are you accumulating in these lows? Did you sell your whole bag? Are you betting on more upside? Do you think we've recovered and we're going to continue back to all-time highs and plus six figures is around the corner? Or are we still bearish? Support is yet to be found, and we have the low 20s, the teens that we came from in the not so distant past. Let me know your thoughts on price action down in the comments. And thank you for tuning in, and tune in for the next one.